I have to admit, and people are surprised when I tell them this, just being married, it feels different. You know, it's not my girlfriend, it's not my fiance, it's my wife, you know, and definitely a special feeling and obviously an honor for me, you know, to be married to her. And it's just a blessing.
Actually, his parents were still in town, and obviously we're still attending to them, doing things with them, doing things around the house together with them. So it wasn't like your regular first week as a couple, like as a married couple. And I think now for 2 days we have been together with the two of us, and for me it feels amazing. We're like, constantly like, look at how we're sitting. We're like constantly at home also like, hey, what are you doing? And doing this together, that together. Or he's maybe doing something else, but he's still sitting next to me. So yeah, we're really taking our time to be together for this time.
Yeah.
Girl, there ain't nothing I wouldn't do. If they gave me everything, I would give it all away for you. Give it all away. With you, I know I'll be okay. Girl, there ain't nothing I wouldn't do.
My name is Donald Natasha. I was born and raised in Amsterdam. Spent the first 24 years there. 2006, I had the opportunity to go on an assignment in Toronto, Canada, for work. It was 3 months, but it ended up 10 years. My former manager, he moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2014. And for 2 years straight, he kept on sending me weather forecasts, as well as house listings. So that's how I ended up in Charlotte. So that's where I live right now. And I'd like to introduce my wife.
Hi, my name is Natasha Mattes, and I currently live in Suriname. I was born there as well. I lived there till I was 8 years old. And then I left to live in Holland for 18 years. In 2019, I moved back to Suriname, and I started working at the family company, and I have lived there now for almost 6 years already. So yeah, and still in Suriname, and going back and forth from Suriname to Charlotte now. So yeah.
So how often do you guys go back and forth? Do you take turns? Like, what does that look like?
So lately, the last year, basically 2024, we saw each other every month. But it was a kind of a different circumstance. We had like some difficulties in the family. My mom was sick, so special occasions. So that's why we saw each other more often than planned. And I think Donald, with his work and all, he's easier to work remote. So every time he was like, okay, I'm gonna book. It's too long now, so I'm coming back. And this year we're planning on doing that. I'm coming more to Charlotte, and also for longer periods of time. So
yeah,
that's the plan for this year.
Yeah, and we make it a purpose that whenever we're seeing each other, we know when we're going to see each other next. Mm-hmm. Not that we're like, don't have that that next vacation planned. So that really makes it a little bit more bearable to be separated from each other, because it's not easy.
We count down the days.
We always count down the days, and I think it's a good way for us not to take each other for granted, because obviously that's something people tend to do when you see someone every day. And I told her I promised I'll never stop having that feeling, even if she's living in the same city and in the same bed as me. So
we're gonna keep dating every time.
So we really go on dates still, and Yeah, no, it's fun. Just, life was great already. It's just so much better with her in it.
Everybody has a beginning to something. You meet a new friend, you start a new relationship, you get a new job, whatever it is, you got to start from somewhere. And it's easy to forget about how great and exciting that new beginning was when it first started. Life gets in the way, you start to get more busy, family grows. It's really nice to be able to look back and reminisce on the things that got you to where you are now. How did you get started? Building your family. Where did it start from? When it was just you two before anything else.
And we got married in Charlotte at home. And our pastor of the local church where we go to, he did the honors for us. Yeah.
No, it was amazing. We had like a small group of friends, Aaron and Sophie, and it was just what we wanted. Obviously, we really want to do like a big wedding with a whole other family because we both love family, being around them. So for us, the wedding is more about that. So yeah, we really want to plan towards that. Seeing our living situation and where we come from, it's a bit difficult navigating the wedding, but we'll get there. And yeah, we wanted to just do it beforehand and arrange everything that we want to do, just start our lives, because basically eventually it was like we cannot start anything before we get married, right? So yeah, we're really glad we did it. I live in Suriname, and Donald was on vacation in Suriname, and he was actually visiting his family because his parents, they are from Suriname. So he was there just visiting for a couple of weeks, and I went to a concert of Burna Boy. I'm not sure if everyone knows Burna Boy, but if you don't, look him up. No, so we went to a concert, and Suriname is just a small country, and there was like this inner circle that you can buy tickets for. And a lot of people that we know, they bought those tickets. And then I was basically there with my friends. He was there with his cousins, his family. And I was saying hi to all of his cousins and people he was with. And eventually I saw him, but I didn't know him. And in Suriname, it's really easy. Okay, he's not from here, right? So I was looking at him. He was looking at me. And then basically he was asking his, it's your cousin, right?
Yeah, my cousin.
Yeah, that I also know. He's like, oh, who's that girl? And he basically said, that's Natasha Berner. And in Suriname, because it's so small, they use the last name. And he says, oh yeah, I know her dad. And just explaining who I was. And he was just looking at me the whole time instead of the concert. And then eventually he left, and then he said to his cousin, I'm going to marry this girl. And I grabbed your hand first. He grabbed my hand. And one of my friends, actually, she came back because we weren't standing together during the concert. And she saw him holding my hand, and she's like, who's that guy? And then I said, I'll explain it later. And then he left. He put in my phone, he put future wifey, not even his name.
Like your name.
Not even my name. And then we started texting, and I was like, you don't even know my name. And he's like, I don't need to know it. What are you doing tomorrow? And then he wanted to date immediately. And yeah, he was really like, I need to make this happen.
So the thing was too, we met on December 14th. Mm-hmm. And I was supposed to leave on December 17th. The week after, I had a meeting in New York. So when I got home, I'm like, I can't leave. So I called one of my coworkers and said, listen, I got this meeting. Can you please cover for me? And he was willing to do that, which was great. So I extended my stay from the 17th to January 7th. So that allowed us to get to know each other. And, you know, the Surinamese community is so small that when I told my mom who I was dating, she told me, give me 1 second. And she sent me back a baby picture of her mom.
Yeah.
Just to show you
crazy.
how small the community is. And like even my dad was telling me that his first soccer shoe was made by her great grandfather. So it's just that
That's how
kind of
small it
community.
is.
Yeah. And like she said too, like I knew her uncles, her aunt. I just didn't know her. Like obviously a little bit of an age gap as well, but yeah, it's just such a small community. And even when I met her family, it just like clicked right away.
Yeah,
And
it felt like my own family.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
what was it? Like, what was it that when you saw her, you just knew? Like, what was it?
Obviously, like, cause she's tall, she stands out. But when we locked in, I was like, I felt something, and I told my cousin, I'm like, I'm gonna marry this girl, and he's like, ooh, and I turned, like I pointed out behind him, he turned around and he started laughing, and 8 months later we were engaged. So that's it. Well, yeah.
I think also because we don't live in the same country, everything went like at this fast pace that usually when someone lives in the same country as you do, you're like, okay, I'll see you maybe next week for a date. But we knew he was leaving soon. So basically it was during
Fast track.
Christmas, during
Your
New
birthday.
Year's, my birthday. So every event that is basically very important to, spend with your loved one. We were like, oh, are you coming to my family dinner? Are you coming to my 30th birthday party? Are you coming to spend New Year's Eve with me? So it was like fast tracking everything.
Yeah, I saw her each and every day when I was there, that first trip.
You know, the first day that we went on a date, I was 5 minutes like late and he was waiting outside. And then my mom, she was about to leave with my aunt, with my uncle, my grandmother. And they were all outside. So basically, the first date, he met everyone.
Kind of like prom.
Yeah, he just met everyone. And
Yeah.
then, it was so funny.
Like something that I struggle with is how, because I'm always, when I get up, I'm always like on the go. She takes her time and
With everything.
with everything. Like even coming here, she's late. A lot of people just tell me, like that's just how she is.
It's really testing, like,
It is
teaching
testing my patience.
right? Yeah.
It's testing my patience. And like even my dad, he tells me like, are you going to the hospital? Like, why are you always
He's
on the
always in
go?
a rush,
In
and
a
I'm
rush.
so like laid back. It's
So, I mean, who do I go for advice to? I think it's more so in this particular case, that I need to change my expectations, as well as also perhaps telling
And
her,
mine,
giving her a different time. Right? Let's say we have to be there at 6 o'clock. I tell her we have to be there at 5:30.
yeah.
It has to come to that. But like,
That'll work.
Yeah.
might even have to push it to 5 even. But no, it's not that bad. It has gotten better. But in terms of
Trying.
what I would ask for advice or whom I would turn to, it really, really depends on, the kind of issue. Has it been something that someone else I know is struggling with, or has dealt with, that's who I would turn to.
So
You
it
know?
sounds like you have, because I struggle with this. I used to struggle with it a lot, like patience.
Mhm.
Like he's laid back. I'm the one that's like, I'm doing it really fast. But, and sometimes I have to like take a deep breath and just
Mhm.
chill, just, calm
Yeah.
down a little bit. What steps do you think you need to take to change that, I guess, habit? And
Yeah. I think it's acceptance. Accepting, who she is and keeping that in mind. It's not changing, it's not ending my life, right? If we're 5 minutes late. But I feel like communication is very important. If you know you're falling behind, just let me know. And I can be a pain, I know sometimes. Like, for instance, I told her we're leaving at 5:00 and like 10 minutes in front, listen, there's still 10 minutes. 5 minutes, hey, listen, 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's like,
So I need to change
rushing
that.
me.
I have to admit that in the US, it's a little bit easier for me to cope with than in Suriname because, when you're dressed there and you're sitting outside, it's really hot and, it's a little bit tougher on me than it is here. Plus, my own space, I can do whatever. I can watch TV still quickly. So it's situational.
I think what you'll learn is to modify your pace so that there isn't the gap between that.
It's exactly what you
Yeah,
did.
and that's the thing is like just a little bit, and it is a lot. I understand how you feel because like for me, like to be anywhere on time is to be 15 minutes early. That's me. That's just how I am. Like if that's how I was raised, like if you're on time, you're late. So like, and that was definitely something I had to adjust to with us as well. It's just that, it was like, I'd be in my head sometimes and she didn't know this, but I'd just be like, ooh. Like, like we really, like, we need to be there. Like, and so, but it is just kind of figuring a way to modify your own pacing so that then there isn't as big a gap and then just allowing, you kind of understand this a little bit, but allowing her to be how she needs to be. Because if she's in harmony with the essence of how she wants to be, then she's great. So if you throw her off that harmony, then it's then she's uneasy when it's something that you really, and I'm the same way, like I really can just be okay. Like it's gonna be all right. Like it's gonna be fine. We'll get there when we get there.
But I noticed that I did change that because I know he's that way and he's like without like come on. I'm like, all right, I know we have to be there at a certain time. So I would start early so I can take my time because I feel anxiety when I'm rushed. I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like,
me too.
Then it takes me longer when I'm rushed. So it's like if I'm packing to go for vacation, I can't do it the same day. I can't. Because I'm going to forget something. I'm going to think it's going to give me anxiety. I have to start at least a week before. No, seriously. That way I can say, is there anything missing? And usually there's nothing missing. Yeah. But if I do it the day of, forget it. It's...
You know what's funny? It's the exact same thing with us. Like, he's like, I can't believe you're taking that long to pack. And he, like, the same day, 5 minutes, he throws in some shirts, some pants. And he's like, okay, I'm done. Goes back to the TV, watches TV. And like... And then before we leave, he's like, are you not done yet? Like, what are you still doing? But yeah, it's, I think he adjusted well in Suriname though, because I'm taking much longer. He's like, okay, we're leaving at 11. You go get ready now. He gives me like an hour. And then maybe 10 minutes before, he hops in the shower, gets ready, and then we're finished together, right? So... yeah, we're coping. Yeah. We're getting there.
When I'm working from home, I just wear really comfortable clothes. And my mom actually, she came to me and she said, like, why don't you just dress up normally like you do, like you normally would when you go to work? I'm like, why? It's like, you don't want her always to see you in these comfortable clothes. And I guess she has a point there, because my dad definitely always wears his comfortable clothes. So I see her point, And that's something that I always had in mind. I was taking it super extreme when she told me that. I came out of the room wearing suit and tie, working from home. But yeah, next to that, like we are planning to have a family if it's in God's will. But even then, we want to make it a purpose that we do go on dates. We do have our time, vacations,
together,
destinations that we have things to look forward to. And just, like,
also time, like, even though if we have kids, like, we do make time for each other. I think that's very important. Also to, for example, if eventually you need help because you have so many kids, you don't want to deplete yourself or your relationship because everything in the house needs to be perfect, clean and everything. But you yourself are always tired. We don't want to get to that point, So we kind of actually promise each other, like, when it gets to that point, we will just sit each other down, like, okay, we need to figure something out because it's not working. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what is different about, my love that I have for her is just, I'm just still in awe of her. I love taking pictures of her. I love just looking at her. When she's sleeping, I'm staring at her, and I never had that. And, people around me tell me that too, that the way I'm loving is like next level. And, it's just how she makes me feel still. And I don't know if it's that distance. I hope it's not. I don't think it's not. But it's just, what I feel right here when I look at her. And when she's not with me, I'm looking at her pictures. It's just... Yeah,
you keep sending me pictures I didn't know
she forgot about. And like those candid pictures. And, that's...
I love it.
That's it for me. I don't know about you.
So for me, I know when girls or people when you're younger, you really expect love to be like all horns and bells and all feelings like you're over the roof. But I really noticed what I love most about the love that I have with Donald is basically the loyalty, the patience, the safety that I feel when we're together or when I talk to him or whatever I'm going through, like how safe I feel and how do I say it? Everything will be fine as long as we have each other. And I think that safety was really important for me. And that's what really brought me and towards Donald the most, I think. Yeah. He knows what I've been through in life. And I think he gets why I want that, like just a peaceful life. I don't want all the big things. And I know the funny thing is in the beginning when we were dating, to be closer, he thought about moving to Fort Lauderdale because it was just one flight, right? And we start looking at houses, and I didn't know the area, but I knew Charlotte, I knew where the house was, everything. I already went, and eventually I said, no, this is like the perfect place to like start a family, to be together, and at the stage that we're in life, this is just perfect. And we just scrapped Fort Lauderdale. We're like, what is another flight? We're like, it's okay.
Yeah. And on top of that, like to me, when people ask me what is love, to me, love is sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And I feel that I'm way more willing to sacrifice for her more than any person on this earth. So that's how I know that, she is the one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I know what you're talking about because, I can echo that sentiment and no, it doesn't go away.
Dude, like I didn't meet her, but I saw you look different. When you met her, I knew, that's a rep. Yeah. That's a rep. Like you didn't, and then she came to the court. I'm like, okay.
Good why.
Okay. I see you. Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
it's, for me, it was crazy because, you know, I had never met anyone like her before. And it was like, you know, we had this initial meeting and we were just kind of talking. And then later that night when we were sitting in her car and we're having this conversation, and then she has me like touch her thigh muscles because she had been working out. She was like super proud of them. She was like, here, check this out. So I'm like, okay. And then we're just talking about her life, and she's talking about Layla and like all the things that Layla is getting ready to go through, and just seeing this light in her. Like I could just see it. And then I couldn't like take my eyes off her. Like I was trying not to stare. Like we were in the car, I was trying not to stare, but I was like looking and trying to be cool, you know, because it was like what I was feeling, that I got a chance to like let that feeling go when I got in my car. And I texted my mom at 11 at night to see if she was awake so I could call her and tell her I met her. And it's just like, it's true, because I mean, I'm at work now, even so, like I'll take a break and just like watch like our trip videos, or like watch, because she dances, I'm watching her like videos like when she's dancing or being silly, and I'll send videos to her of herself, you know. And it's like it's interesting because I think like, you know how it is, like you devote yourself to this career, to this profession, and you put all this effort and energy into it, and you do it for yourself because you want to have things for yourself, right? Mm-hmm. But then you meet this person that makes you see purpose in a whole different way, and now you realize that what you'd be willing to sacrifice your life for this person.
You know, it's funny. Today, when did you have to change your shoes? And you're like, was it today?
When we went to church?
Today, yeah. So she took off her seatbelt, and I'm driving. And I mean, I know how to drive. I've never, you know, I haven't, knock on wood, I've never been in an accident. But when she took off her seatbelt, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? You know, I just want her to be safe. I want to protect her.
And I was like, what are you talking about? Just putting on my shoes. Hello.
Yeah, but like, I got this feeling. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I freaked out a little bit. I'm like, are you done yet? I'm like, I just want her to put on that seatbelt as soon as possible. And that's just, you know, I guess just captured how I feel for her.
Because especially I feel like for women, you go through all these hormones and stages every month and everything. And sometimes you just need like a different, you need to be or by yourself, or you need to sleep a little bit extra, or you need just more me time. And I think that's when independency comes in the picture. And I think intimacy also is like, yeah, I feel for me, it's really depending on how I feel, and yeah.
So I feel just situational. We get exposure to both quite a bit, right? Because when she is not here, or I'm not there, we have that alone time. So it allows us to do things that you normally wouldn't really do as much when you're living with a partner. So because of being away from her more than the average person in a relationship, I value intimacy more than independency at this point. But I can imagine if you're living together,
that you need to like sometimes.
Yeah, but I feel like it's definitely, you need to have a balance. I wouldn't say it's just, you know, intimacy or independency. For me, it would be a balance. That would be my answer.
They totally didn't answer the question.
We didn't answer.
They're like, both. No, I'm just kidding with you.
We didn't choose one.
You didn't choose one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is going to be hard.
Okay.
Respect, trust.
Trust for me. Yeah. Again, you know, the distance that we have, if there isn't trust. And again, I'm not trying to downplay respect, because that's so important. But I feel
so close to each other.
trust, I mean, that's like a foundation of a relationship. If you don't, trust each other with, whether there's adultery or like even the way you're able to handle finances. I mean, if that's not there, or, who you're with, who you're hanging out with, if it's not there, I don't think there's a purpose being in a relationship. Like obviously respect, that's very important, almost equally important, but I feel I put a little bit more weight to trust.
For me, it's the same, but I do think it has a lot to do with the distance, but also, safety. I know a lot of relationships now, people just don't trust each other. And I can just close my eyes. If someone tells me this crazy story that Donald did, I was just, no, that's a lie, And I think that's so important that you, trust. You never doubt him. And you know that when someone or something happens, like people will always maybe see things differently, tell you a story, and I just know, like, okay, no, that's not him. Mm-hmm. And like knowing each other, trusting each other, that you would never make those kind of choices. I think that's important. Mm-hmm. And together you still respect each other by doing that, right? Yeah.
I like that. Those two words. I like those.
It makes you think.
Top would be quality time.
Quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's acts of service. The funny thing is, I always do the acts of service for a lot of people. Jeez. And then for someone to do it back for me, it's like, wow. I think that's why acts of service is so big for me. I also like the gifting part. When he comes home and he's like, oh, I saw this, or he's online shopping for sweaters and he's like, oh, I bought you this cute shirt, or for work, or these shoes because you always keep looking for shoes for work because they keep breaking, like things like that. It's like for me, I think that's also. Do you have only one, or we talked about this? Yeah.
No, I think, it's word of affirmation. I think that was also important to me.
Mm-hmm. So with that being said, stay connected.
Stay in love.
And we'll see you next episode.
My heart is a cage and you